And you're going to always want to do the process of elimination on your answers, because what they tend to do is give you 2 or more correct answers, but one is going to be more specific. So you never want to get in the habit of, oh, I see this answer, it looks right, let me just go for it. You always want to use the process of elimination on the answers, so that way you can catch any of those little tricks they may throw at you while you're taking the course. Okay, so those are the 3 golden rules. We're going to use that on every single question, so I hope you guys have that written down. And then there's also 3 bonus rules that you just kind of want to use when you're taking the test. So the first bonus rule would be remove all doubt. So when you're taking the test, especially when you go down to the testing site to actually take your test, you're gonna be overwhelmed with doubt, right? You're gonna get in the room, they're only letting 10 people test at a time. It's you know, the environment is very kind of makes you nervous when you go. And so if you're doubting yourself, that'll lead you to do bonus rule number 2, which is don't change any of your answers. Once you start doubting yourself, you're going to change one answer. That's going to make you feel like you can change another one, and then you may have been changing answers that were actually correct the whole time. So we want to remove all of that doubt so it doesn't cause us to change any answers. And then the last bonus rule, I say this before I take any kind of courses, any type of test, especially before I go downtown and take the test, is I'm a winner anyway, right? And so for you new people that are here, that's how we start off every single class is we all say it together, I'm a winner anyway, and we kind of get things started off with that, right? So really quickly, I'm going to unmute you guys, and I want to hear everybody right at the top of your lungs. If you got kids in the other room, I understand. You might have to whisper, right? But I want to hear everyone yell as loud as you can. I am a winner anyway on 3. I'm going to unmute you guys. All right, everyone's unmuted. So 1, 2, 3.
I'm a winner anyway.
Yes, awesome. Great job. And I'm going to just for the sake of the feedback in the background, I'm going to mute everybody. But if you have any questions, I love interaction. So please unmute yourself if you have a question you need to ask, or go ahead and type it in the chat below, and I'll make sure I'll get to any questions you have as soon as I can. All right, so let's get to this course. This website is called Quizlet.com, and there's an Excel life and health insurance test with about 532 questions on it. That's what we're going to be going through. If you want to feel free to go on this website when you're not in the class, you can do so as well, just to give you kind of a heads up of what we'll touch on as we move forward. So we're going to start with where we left off last class, question 59, and it says, if an insured wishes to guarantee his or her insurability, what provision or option may be added to a disability income policy? So what does that really mean, okay? Well, first of all, let's go through the answers. A says a waiver of disability. B says cost of living rider. C says return of premium provision. And D says guaranteed purchase option, okay? So what was that first rule we mentioned a little earlier ago?
Identify the vocabulary.
Identify the vocabulary words, right? So what's the first vocabulary word you guys see here in this question?
Insured.
Insured, yes. So insured is someone that has an insurance policy, right? That would be the policy owner or the person that has the coverage, okay? That is an insured. So it's saying the person who has the insurance policy, they want to get guaranteed insurability, which just means down the line, they don't want to be told that their policy is going to lapse or they don't qualify anymore for insurance. They want to be guaranteed coverage down the line, right? And so this says what provision or option may be added to a disability income policy. Well, now we know the type of insurance policy that they have is a disability income policy, right? Now, on that disability income policy, there's something you can put on there called like a rider, right? A rider or a waiver or option or provision, right? And so out of the answers, we want to figure out, okay, which one of these options or provisions or riders is going to guarantee us insurability. So the first one say a waiver of disability. So let's think about it, okay? If I want to be guaranteed insurability in the future, would I get a waiver of disability rider, which just basically means if I become disabled, they'll waive that disability, kind of like they'll ignore it, right? So that may be a potential option. It sounds like it's something that may be true. So we'll keep A as a possible answer. B says cost of living rider, right? So you have to think, okay, what does my cost of living have to do with me being guaranteed coverage in the future? Does it have to do with anything to do with that? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe my cost of living may exceed my ability to pay for my policy, so that could be potential. But it's not sticking out to me as much as it should be. So I'm gonna get rid of B. C says return of premium provision. And return of premium just means whatever you put in is what you'll get back, right? So if you had a disability income policy that was going to pay you $5,000 a month, return of premium just says, hey, you wouldn't get necessarily the $5,000, you'd get whatever you've paid into it so far, right? And then D says guaranteed purchase option, right? Which basically sounds the most like a guaranteed insurability in the future. So based off of kind of what we went through with that process of elimination, what do you guys think? What's standing out the most to you? I'm going to go in the chat here.
D. I'm going with D, guaranteed purchase option.
Okay. Beth says D. Barbara says D. Stevie says D. Jen and Jerome say, well, Jerome says D. Let's see what Jen says, right? I got a lot of D's. Evelyn says D. Emmanuel says D. Good. Awesome. What about you, Gabby? What do you say?
D as well. D.
D as well. Awesome. Awesome. Letice says D. Tammy says D. Hannah says D. And just so you guys know, right, we don't have any secret warriors here. So I may call on you guys randomly and check and see just to make sure you're involved. So D seems to be the most standout answer for everybody. So let's see what they say here. D it is, right? It says guaranteed purchase option. The guaranteed purchase option may also be called the guarantee insurability benefit. This rider allows the insured to purchase additional amounts of disability insurance at specified option dates without providing insurability, which just basically means, hey, you can qualify to buy additional coverage at specific times without having to prove that you're in good health or anything like that. Excuse me. And I saw a question in the chat from, let me see who that was really quickly. From Hayuna, I believe that's your name. She said, what is a rider? So a rider is kind of like it's kind of like an attachment to your policy, right? So let's say I had, permanent life insurance coverage and I wanted to add some long-term care. Well, I could add long-term care as a rider to my policy and it would just turn on when I needed it, right? As opposed to buying an individual policy. I could have like a child rider, which just means I'll have child insurance attached to my policy. So if anything happens to my child, they'll pay out something for the child. So it's kind of just like an attachment, an extra incentive, things that you can add to the policy, or an extra feature, let's put it that way, that you can add to the policy for an additional fee. Hopefully that made sense. Jennifer pays a $75 premium each month for life insurance coverage. Her insurer promises to pay a much greater benefit to a beneficiary if she dies prematurely. This is an indication that the life insurance contract possesses which of the following features? It is an aleatory contract. It is a contract of adhesion. It is a conditional contract. It is a bilateral contract. So let's read the question, right? Based off of this question, what do you guys see as the first vocabulary word here?
Premium.
That's good. And what does premium mean? Can anybody tell me what premium is?
It's the amount you pay for your insurance.
is the amount you pay for your coverage, right?
Yeah,
So,
monthly.
right. And so you can, depending on how you want to structure your premium, excuse me, my camera's off. Depending on how you want to structure that premium, you could have premium paid monthly, you could have it paid quarterly, you could do it one time a year, just depending on what exactly you have. But Jennifer's premium is that $75 she's paying each month, right? For life insurance coverage. Okay, so she has a life insurance policy, she's paying $75 a month for it. Her insurer, so the next vocabulary word would be insurer, and an insurer is just an insurance company. Okay, the person or the company providing the insurance would be the insurer. Okay, so her insurance company, right, promises to pay her a greater benefit to a beneficiary if she dies prematurely. So let's say, you know, she has $100,000 in her account. I'm sorry, she has $100,000 life insurance policy, and she's paying $75 for it. Let's say it's a term policy. And her insurance company says, hey, I'll pay your daughter higher than this 100,000. I'll pay her 120,000, whatever the case may be, if you die early. Okay. Now, this question is basically saying this is an indication that the life insurance contract possesses which of the following features, right? So it has some kind of feature on it that allows her to get that benefit of her beneficiary getting more than what she's paying for. Would that be called an aleatory contract? Would that be called a contract of adhesion? Would that be called a conditional contract, or is it a bilateral contract? Well, a conditional contract is standing out to me because the only way she's going to get that greater benefit, or her beneficiary gets that greater benefit, is if she dies prematurely. And that's a condition of the contract, right? So that C does stand out to me. Bilateral contract typically has to do with more than one party being involved, right? And just so we're clear on things, I always like to use Google because I don't want to guess. I want to know what all the options are. So let's see, what is aleatory contract? Let's see how that's used in the life insurance realm. An aleatory contract is an agreement whereby the parties involved do not have to perform a certain action until a specific event occurs. Insurance policies use aleatory contracts whereby the insurer doesn't have to pay the insured until an event such as a fire results in property loss. So aleatory contract is just basically saying we don't have to do this until this happens. It's very conditional, right? Which is somewhat what they're saying with her situation. Right, we'll only pay your beneficiary more than what you have if you die early, right? So aleatory contract may be the answer, right? That does stand out. Let's look up contract of adhesion. Contract of adhesion says an adhesion contract, or a boilerplate contract, is a contract drafted by one party, usually a business, stronger bargaining power, and signed by another party who's weaker, right? So an adhesion contract, usually the person or the business offering the contract has an upper hand. They're making much more, they have a lot more bargaining power. It's more in their favor than the person who's getting the contract, right? Typically the person that's getting the insurance is kind of settling, right? They're not getting everything they want, they're more so just accepting the terms of the insurance company at that point. So that's an adhesion contract. For what they're saying, it doesn't sound like she's accepting a lesser term. It sounds like she's getting more of a benefit if her beneficiary is going to get more money. So I'm not really going to go with contract adhesion. And then a conditional contract, we can just break that down by the words. It's conditional. If this happens, that happens. There's a condition to it. And then D says a bilateral contract. I'm assuming a bilateral contract is something a little bit more even. Let's see. A bilateral contract is an agreement between two parties in which each side agrees to fulfill his or her side of the bargain. Okay. Now, in this case, she is paying the $75 a month. If she keeps paying it, She's doing her side of the bargain. The insurance company's doing their side of the bargain by giving her beneficiary the extra benefit. I personally think it's between A and D, right? But based off of what we went over, what do you guys think? What questions do you have? Let me go to the chat here. I see Barbara says take it or leave it contract. Okay. Evelyn says C. Beth says C.
I vote C.
Jen says C. Okay. Hayuna says C. Emmanuel says C. Lauren says C. All right, let's see. Ooh, hey. It says it is an aleatory contract. An aleatory feature of an insurance contract means that the contract contains equal values with regard to premiums paid and benefits received. For example, the premium paid for coverage is less than the potential benefit payable. So remember when we said the aleatory contract is between, let's say in this case, an insurance company that's in a higher position that's doing more than the person getting the contract. She's only paying $75 for the insurance, but they're going to give her beneficiary much more than what she's currently paying for in coverage, right? So they are in a higher position than what she is. They're doing more than what she would be doing. Hold on, let me look at the chat. Stevie says, wow, broke a rule and changed my answer from A to C because everyone else was saying C and I second guessed myself. And Stevie, I'm glad you said that because you're just the one that's willing to admit it right now. But that'll happen often, right? And more times than not, when you're actually taking the test, that's gonna happen to you. And you start to doubt yourself, but you always want to just go with your first mind, okay? And look, even if you get the answer wrong, the most important thing is you're maintaining the confidence in yourself. Okay, if you stick with your first mind and you get the answer wrong, it doesn't mean you don't know what you're talking about, right? It just means you got to answer wrong once, right? If you're doubting yourself, more likely than not, you're gonna get the answer wrong. Can you give an example of a conditional contract? I'll let you do that. Let's see. Conditional contract is an agreement that is enforceable only if another agreement is performed or if another specific condition is satisfied. A conditional contract is also termed as a hypothetical contract. So let's do this. We could say a conditional contract would be like accidental death and dismemberment insurance. Like accidental death and dismemberment, let's say you got insurance. Let's say you're a track runner and you got insurance on your leg, right? And so if you were to break your leg, since that's how you make your money, you would want to get paid out for that, right? That's your money maker. So that accidental death and dismemberment policy says, hey, if he doesn't die from a broken leg or he doesn't break his leg, or if you got an accidental death policy that says, hey, you have to die from a fractured neck or whatever the case may be, and you die from natural causes, it won't pay out. It's conditional. It's not something that's gonna pay out just because you passed away, right? It's very much so based off of that specific condition in the contract. Okay, so that's a great example of that. One moment. All right, this question says, which of the following is a vehicle that provides health insurance benefits for small benefits with common employments? Is it multiple employer welfare arrangements, employer administered plans, residual market pools, or joinder groups? We did leave off on this one. From what I remember, it was B, employer administered plans. Just for the sake of it, I'm going to check and see. It says A, multiple employer welfare arrangement. So let's see why. It says multiple employer welfare arrangement, also known as multiple employer trusts, allow small employers in common or similar industries to band together in order to receive more cost-effective health insurance coverage. This allows a MEWA or MET to be part of a larger group and thus receive a more advantageous premium rate. So if you have let's say you have a small business and you only have 5 to 10, maybe 15 employees, right? You don't have enough employees for everyone to put in money and the cost of insurance to be really low. The reason why, if you work for a big corporation, your health insurance is really inexpensive is just because there's a lot of people putting money in, right? So it makes it less expensive to do. So these small companies, these small employers, they'll come together under this multiple employer welfare arrangement, and they'll all be under one plan so that each of their employees putting in money can kind of reduce the premium rate, okay? And that's advantageous for the small companies because, like I said, if they don't do this, they don't have enough employees to reduce the cost of insurance for everyone. So they'll create these multiple employer welfare arrangements, and that's how they'll get a more advantageous premium rate, okay? Okay, this question says all of the following statements are true with regards to tax-deferred annuities except A, TDAs are utilized by tax-exempt organizations such as nonprofit entities. B, TDAs are a salary reduction rather than a tax deduction. C says TDAs are used to provide retirement income to recipients. And D says TDAs accumulate interest on a tax-free basis. TDA just means tax-deferred annuity. If we look at the question, the first vocabulary word I see is tax-deferred annuity, right? And what a tax-deferred annuity is, first we need to understand what an annuity is. What an annuity does is you put money into an annuity. Most cases, it's a lump sum up front. Sometimes you can add money to it. Usually it's just a lump sum that grows. And what you can do with an annuity is once you annuitize it, which just means you start taking money from it, it'll pay you a certain amount of money every year for the rest of your life or for whatever term you get it. So you can get a 10-year annuity, 20-year, 30-year, or you can get a lifetime annuity. And the purpose of getting an annuity is just so that, hey, let's say I only have $100,000. Let's say the market dropped. I only got $100,000 left. I thought I was going to be able to retire, but now I can't. So I'm going to take that $100,000, put it into an annuity, and it's going to make an income for me every year, as opposed to I just spend $100,000, it's gone. Now I can have a consistent income out of that $100,000. So an annuity kind of is like a pension. It creates a pension for you. So a tax-deferred annuity just means you're not paying taxes on the growth of the annuity until you actually start taking money out of the annuity. Okay, so it's tax-deferred, right? So a tax-deferred annuity. So this in the second vocabulary word I want you guys to notice is except. I look at words like not or true or except as vocabulary words because it's real easy to be thinking about, okay, what is a tax-deferred annuity and forget that they're saying except, right? Which really just means which one is not true, okay? So which one of these answers are not true? Tax-deferred annuities are utilized by tax-exempt organizations such as nonprofit entities. Well, if they're tax-exempt, why would they need a tax-deferred annuity, right? They're tax exempt. They won't have to pay taxes on the money anyway. So what's the point of getting a tax-deferred annuity that you don't have to pay taxes on until later? B says tax-deferred annuities use a salary reduction rather than a tax deduction. So they don't deduct what they're contributing to the tax-deferred annuities. They just deduct that money from what they're getting paid every year. Okay, so if they're putting $50,000 into the tax-deferred annuity, they're just going to take $50,000 less in pay every year and just put that money towards the annuity itself. That's what B is saying. C says tax-deferred annuities are used to provide retirement income to recipients. And D says tax-deferred annuities accumulate interest on a tax-free basis. Okay, so here's the thing. The only one I see here that's absolutely incorrect would be D, right? Because remember, we said it's tax deferred, which means it is going to be taxed. It's just going to be taxed later, right? D says it grows on a tax-free basis, which means it's not going to be taxed at all in the future, right? That completely goes against the tax-deferred portion we saw earlier. Remember, they're saying except, which one isn't correct. So I personally think D. What do you guys think? I see Beth says A, okay. Are utilized by tax-exempt organizations such as nonprofits. Okay. Evelyn says D. Let's see. Do we have Lauren back? Okay, Lauren says D. Stevie says D. Emmanuel says D. Good. What about you, Hannah? Okay. Hannah says not sure, but D. Okay. Angie, what do you think? Okay, Angie may not be here. Antonio, what do you say? I still haven't heard from Antonio, Barbara, Hilda. Antonio says D. Okay, Tammy says D. All right, so I have an overwhelming amount of D's. Barbara says D. Awesome. So let's see what it says. It says D. Tax-deferred annuities accumulate interest on a tax-free basis would not be the answer because tax-deferred annuities are taxed. Tax-deferred annuities are also referred to as tax-sheltered annuities. Excuse me. These qualified plans are available to employees or nonprofit or charitable organizations, employees of educational organizations, and clergy and women. Okay. So remember, tax deferred means it is going to be taxed just later. Deferred just means pushing it off. Okay. All right. So this question says annuity contracts may be funded with any several methods of payment. Which of the following is not a recognized method of funding this contract? A says flexible premium, B says level premium, C says lump sum premium, and D says certain premium. So let's read the question again. Which is the first vocabulary word you guys see here? Let's take a look.
Annuity contracts.
Annuity contracts. Thank you, Hannah. So annuity contracts, remember what we said, what is an annuity? Annuity, you put a lump sum of money in, it'll pay you a certain amount of money every year for the duration, whether that's a certain amount of years or the rest of your life, right? You're basically stretching a lump sum of money over a period of time as opposed to just spending that lump sum, right? Now, it says annuity contracts may be funded with any several methods of payment. So we know in regards to the annuity right now, we're talking about how they pay, how you would pay into an annuity. What's the method of funding an annuity? Okay, basically of what they're asking here. How can you fund an annuity? Which of the following is not a recognized method of funding it? So remember before I told you, you guys can do a lump sum. Typically it's always lump sum at first. Some of them let you add money to it, some do not. But there aren't any where you can just start with monthly payments. You do have to put some kind of lump sum down. Typically, that's $10,000 at a minimum. There are some companies that'll do $5,000, but that's very rare. Typically, it's about $10,000 minimum. Okay, so which one of these isn't a way you can fund your annuity? Would it be flexible premium? Would it be level premium, a lump sum premium, or a certain premium? Well, flexible premium just means over time, I can add money, I can change what I'm putting in. It doesn't have to be the same thing all the time, it's flexible. Level means it's a certain premium for the duration, okay? It's level, it doesn't change. C, lump sum, of course, that just means upfront, you put a chunk of money in. And then D says certain premium, certain just meaning it's gonna be a certain amount every single time, okay? Here's my problem with D. Okay, my issue with D is that it doesn't matter how often you fund, it's always going to be certain, right? Whether it's flexible or not, right? Like if I'm putting in $100 and then later I'm going to start putting in 50, I'm certain it'll be 50, right? So it should be certain all the time. That one's sticking out to me as something that's just like kind of off. That one in level premium, which just means it doesn't change. So what do you guys think? I mean, I think the two that are definites are lump sum and flexible. You either put a lump sum up front or you do a lump sum with flexible payments in the future. B and D are kind of sticking out to me as potential wrong answers. Barbara says C, lump sum premium. Remember, the question is asking you which one of these is not a real way you can fund it. Right, remember that word. Remember, not is a vocabulary word, right? So a lump sum premium is a way you can fund an annuity. So it would not be C, just so you guys know. Let's see.
D.
Okay. Lauren says annuity. I'm not sure what you meant by that.
That was from earlier when you asked the first vocabulary word.
Okay, sorry. I apologize for that. Barbara says C. Hilda says B. Antonio says C. Beth says A. Emmanuel says A. Okay, Barbara says D. Let's hope you change you went against the rules here. You changed the answer, but let's see. Let's see if it worked in your favor. Antonio says B and Emmanuel says D. Let's see.
I say B.
You say B, okay. Boom, B, right? Premium, okay? An annuity contracts may be funded on a single or lump sum basis by level or fixed or contracts by level, fixed, or contract premiums, or with a flexible premium each year. So remember what I said. It doesn't matter if you change what you're gonna put in. The moment you put something in, it's certain what it's gonna be, right? So you have to be certain of what you're gonna put in before you put in anything. It's not that's not a way you pay. That's just understanding what you're gonna put in, right? But you can put everything in it. Typically, in 99.9% of the time when you get an annuity, it's gonna be a lump sum up front. And then you can either decide to do level payments in the future, just meaning it's the same payment in the future. You can do fixed payments, which basically just means the same thing, right? It's fixed over a certain period of time. It'll be a certain amount. Or you could do flexible premiums in the future. So you put a lump sum down and you can put different types of premiums in. So if you have a good month, let's say you just got your stimulus check and you got $1,200 and you want to throw that in there, you can do that. Next month, if you want to do 500, you can do that. You want to do 10,000 that next month, you can do that, right? So that's flexible. So I hope that made sense. This question says, insurance companies use age 100 to calculate life insurance death benefits because A, they assume everyone will have died by that age. B, it allows them to charge higher premiums. C, it makes sure they never have to pay a death benefit. Or D, they assume that mortality rates will decrease by then. Okay. So let's look at it. What's the vocabulary word in this question?
Insurance company.
Insurance companies. Okay, perfect. And what is an insurance company? I know these are basics.
Provides insurance.
Provides
Exactly.
insurance death benefits.
Right. Exactly. Great job, Lauren.
An insurer.
An insurer, right? That's another word for insurance companies, an insurer. Now it's saying they use, so this, you'll see this on an illustration. The illustration will show from whatever age they're starting, typically to 100, if not 120, right? But most times it's 100. Okay. They're asking you, why do they do this? Why do they use 100 as the guideline age for when the policy would stop? It says they assume everyone will have died by that age. You know, it sounds bad, but yes, they do assume that most people will have died by that age because mortality charts show that men live typically into their early 80s, women live into their late 80s, early 90s, right? Luckily for you ladies, you live longer. So they're assuming based off of the mortality rates that they have, you're going to have already passed away by age 100, which is why they're doing that. B says it allows them to charge higher premiums. It doesn't necessarily. It's really just about when you're starting, what your current health is, not necessarily when you're going to die. C says it makes sure they never have to pay a death benefit. Well, even if you passed away at 100, they would still have to pay that death benefit at age 100. So that doesn't cancel out anything. And then D says they assume the mortality rates will decrease by then. Well, if they're putting 100 and they think the mortality rates are going to go down, that means they think you're going to die earlier, which means they would decrease it and make the end date lower than 100. Since they're not doing that, that wouldn't be the answer. So I'm going to go with A. I see Beth said A, Emmanuel said A, Barbara said all of the above. You can't get it wrong when you say all of the above. She found a loophole, guys. Antonio says, I want to say D, but I'm going with A. Ooh, I don't know. That sounds like a change in answer to me. That sounds like you're trying to play the system here. Let's see. Antonio says B. Stevie says B. Latice says A. All right. I'm going with A. A. All right. They assume everyone will have died by age 100. Insurers use standard mortality tables to determine the probability of death. The reason that age 100 is utilized is because it's assumed that everyone will be deceased by that time. In addition, it makes premiums more affordable since costs are not based on the actual life expectancy or of a male or a female. Okay. Now, here's what I want you guys to understand, just to make sure you know, because there may be similar questions like this. Insurance companies don't do anything off of a guess. Nothing's off of a whim. They don't act on feelings. They don't assume. Everything is based off a chart. Okay. So there's two different types of charts. There's mortality tables and there's morbidity tables. Okay. So when they're determining how much is your insurance going to be, do I want to cover you for this amount? You know, what's your likelihood of passing away? When they look at the mortality table, that has to do with your age. That has to do with, based on your age, when are you most likely to pass away? Okay, within what age range are you most likely to pass away? That's mortality, okay? You'll know that that means it has to do to age because the root word is mortal, which has to do with age, okay? The second chart or table that they use is a morbidity table. The morbidity table has to do with your health, right? You'll know this because the root word of morbidity is morbid, which has to do with health, okay? So they want to know, okay, what's your lifestyle like? What's your health? Okay, and based off of those two tables, that's how they'll determine how much coverage they're going to give you, how long they'll insure you, all those different things. Okay, so nothing's up to chance. So you see how D said they assume that mortality rates will decrease by then. Just from that alone, you don't want to pick D because it has an assumption in it. Insurance companies aren't doing anything based off assumptions. Everything's calculated risk. Okay. Okay, this question says, an annuity may be referred to as a systematic reimbursement of the estate, a type of annuity which provides lifetime benefits for the annuitant, and upon the annuitant's death, a lump sum settlement of any undistributed cost of the annuity is referred to as A, joint life annuity, B, life annuity with 15 years certain, C, life annuity with installment refund, or D, cash refund annuity. Okay, so let's take a look at the question one more time. Make sure we understand what they're asking. Who can tell me what the first vocabulary word would be?
Annuity.
Annuity. Okay, awesome. Was that Hannah?
Yes.
Okay, great job, better. Again, annuity, right? And who can tell me what an annuity is?
Funds that pay you back.
Making it whole again?
That was a good guess. Let's go over one more time. What an annuity does, what you want to think about when you see the word annuity, think about a pension, okay? A lot of you guys are much more familiar with that name, pension. And what a pension does is You invest in a pension over time, and then it'll pay you a certain amount of money every month for the rest of your life, okay, or forever, however many years your pension was set for, typically for the rest of your life. Okay, so that's the same. A pension is an annuity. That's all a pension is. Your company is creating an annuity for you. Okay, they're calling it a pension, right? And when you retire, you annuitize that pension. You annuitize the annuity. Annuitize just means you start taking money from. Okay, and that pension starts to pay you every single month, every single year for the rest of your life, a certain amount of money. Okay. Same thing as an annuity. That's how an annuity works, right? So this says an annuity may be referred to as a systematic redistribution of the estate, okay? So let's say the estate is $1 million, okay? Well, to keep the numbers simple, let's say the estate was $100,000, and the estate said, and the annuity said, look, we're gonna pay you 10% of this $100,000 every year for the rest of your life. Okay, 10% of 100,000 is 10,000. Okay, so it's a systematic redistribution of that 100,000 through smaller payments of 10,000. Okay, so when you think of an annuity, just think of a lump sum of money being stretched over time. That's all it is. Okay, and it says a type of annuity which provides lifetime benefits for the annuitant, and upon the annuitant's death, a lump sum settlement of any undistributed cost of the annuity is referred to as. So that next set of vocabulary words would be lifetime benefit, okay? And that lifetime benefit has to do with the duration of your benefit. So remember I said some annuities could have a time limit on it. They can be a 10-year certain annuity, which just means I'm gonna pay you for 10 years certain. And then it could be a lifetime annuity. In this case, this is a lifetime annuity. It has that lifetime benefit on it, okay? And what it also says is the annuitant, which is the next vocabulary word, the annuitant is just a person that owns the annuity or who the annuity is on, okay? Once they pass away, whatever money is left in the annuity, right, that hasn't gone towards any cost of maintaining the annuity is gonna go to their beneficiary, okay? So it has a lifetime certain annuity rider on it, which just means if you take the money out, you'll get it every year for the rest of your life. And if you die while you're taking money out, anything that's left over outside of the cost of actually running the annuity is going to be given to your beneficiary, to your family. So it's kind of like a life insurance policy in that way. Okay. Now, which kind of annuity is this? What would be the name of an annuity that'll pay you for the rest of your life and pay your kids if you pass away? Would that be a joint life annuity? Would that be an annuity with 15 years certain? Would that be a life annuity with an installment refund? Would that be a cash refund annuity? Well, let's look at the answers. A says a joint life annuity. Who can tell me just based off of that name what a joint life annuity would be?
Together with someone?
Together with them, exactly. So a joint life annuity would be an annuity covering 2 or more people, typically 2 spouses, okay? Now, again, that has nothing to do, right, with you getting the money after it's over. Really does not. No. Now, you can get a payout as the spouse if you have a joint life annuity for your spouse. But remember what I said in the beginning about they give you 2 answers. One is just more specific. Nothing in the question gave us any indication that they were talking about a spouse. So we don't want to lock ourselves into A, even though it is something that can pay you and then pay your spouse when you die. You don't want to lock yourself into it because it's very specific. It has to do only with a joint life annuity. So I'm going to keep it as a potential answer, but I'm not going to lock myself into it. B says a life annuity with 15 years certain. Well, what does that mean? A life annuity, we saw that they were talking about lifetime benefits, so it checks out there, but it says 15 years certain. Well, the question says a lump sum settlement will be given to whoever your beneficiary is, right? So it didn't say it's going to pay your beneficiary for another 15 years. It says it's going to give them a lump sum. So that 15 years certain isn't true, right? We don't want to lock ourselves into that. They're just going to give them a lump sum and say, here, this is whatever was left over. So we want to get rid of B as well. C says a life annuity with an installment refund. Ding, ding, ding. This one's ringing a bell for me. As you can see, it says a life annuity. Remember, we said it has a lifetime benefit. That checks out. With an installment refund. So installment means any of the payments you were making, refund. Okay, which means whatever is in there, whatever you paid into it, that's left over, they'll refund that to your beneficiary. Okay, so C is sticking out to me as the best answer so far. D says a cash refund annuity. Now, technically, it is correct because it is whatever cash is in there that's being refunded to your beneficiary. But it doesn't mention that life annuity. It doesn't mention that lifetime benefit that we read in the question, right? It only mentions the refund, okay? So if we pick D, we would only be covering what happens when you pass away and the beneficiary gets the money. We wouldn't be covering what happens over the lifetime of the actual annuity. Okay, so I'm gonna go with C on this one. Again, that's standing out to me the most right now. I see Emmanuel says C, Evelyn says C, Beth says C. Okay, Beth, you are really funny today. Barbara says A. I'm sorry, I think last question. Hannah says D.
I'll change it to C.
Okay. Lauren, you've been doing really good today. What do you say?
That cash refund, I'm going with D just because of the lump sum, but I'm on the fence.
You're on the fence? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm with
but
her.
I'm gonna go with
You with her on that one? Okay. And I see why you guys picked that one again, because you said, what is it called when, because you're focusing on that lump sum settlement that's being given out to the beneficiary, right? But the one thing you're not focusing on is that, because remember, it says a type of annuity which provides lifetime benefits for the annuitant and upon death gives a lump sum settlement, okay? So what you guys are thinking about, you're thinking about the lump sum settlement at the end, okay? But you're leaving out the lifetime benefit. Remember, they're asking you about both. They said, what type of annuity provides both, not just a lump sum at the end. So that cash refund annuity is not wrong because it is giving them the lump sum at the end. It is giving them a cash refund. But you don't want to leave out that life annuity part. You see what I'm saying?
But the life annuity with installment refund, I guess the last part of C is what's giving me pause.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says that the settlement is a lump sum. It doesn't say that it's being returned. Like it's not, the settlement is not distributed in installments.
Did everybody just hear what Lauren said?
Yes, any undistributed cost of the annual annuity is referred to as, but then it says undistributed cost, and the undistributed cost was installments. So it would still be C then.
Well, no, it just says a lump sum settlement of any undistributed cost. So the undistributed cost will be paid out in the form of a settlement. In the form of a lump sum, right? So they're not separate. They're not separate. Undistributed costs are the same thing. They're just going to pay the undistributed cost in the form of a lump sum, right?
Okay.
But what Lauren said was she noticed in C the installment part, right? Which went against what we talked about earlier in the lump sum. For those of you guys that are new, I sometimes purposely will throw you off because I want to see, okay, are you paying attention to the small details? That was a very big small detail that she found that said installments. That went totally against the lump sum we were talking about. So Lauren, let me ask you, do you want to stick with D? You want to go with C? And mind you, this is our last question of the day. So it's up to you guys.
I stand by D.
Me too.
Okay. All right. Suit yourselves. Okay, you sure you don't want to take that? We paid $50 to $80 for this test. We can't afford to lose this. I mean, who wants to go back to their team and say they didn't pass? Are you sure? I don't know. Maybe we should change it. Maybe
you're a winner anyway.
I know, but I don't feel like a winner right now. I feel unsure. I feel like maybe I should switch it. Maybe it's B. I think New School said something about B in the class. I'm freaking out. What do I do?
Not A or B. It has to be C or D.
I don't know. Maybe it's D. Okay, let's go with C. You think C? Maybe it's C. I'm gonna change it to C. Guys. I think that's what I should do. Maybe we should change it to C. Last call. Final answer. I'm gonna go with D. Let's see. Look at that. D, cash refund annuity. A cash refund annuity provides a lump sum settlement to the beneficiary of a deceased annuitant. Great job. Everybody give Lauren a round of applause. Let's see who else. Oh, excuse me, I'm burping a lot today. Lauren, Antonio, Hannah, and Beth. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, Beth. I think you were in the back of your head. You were thinking D. I think so. Okay. Let me go ahead and stop this share. All right. For the new people on today, how we typically end the class is if you have any questions, this is the time to go ahead and bring them up. Any concerns you've been having. Let me know what's been working best for you. I love feedback on the class to know if this information is even helping you guys. So that way by Thursday I can make any shifts I need to make. Emmanuel, thank you for the round of applause. We appreciate it, brother. Any questions? Any questions whatsoever?
Well, I don't have a question, but I'm gonna pay for my testing and my practice test today, and by Thursday I'll let you know what my my test date is.
All right, everybody give it up for Emmanuel. Yes, sir. Great job. And look, it takes a lot of courage to go ahead and schedule that test, man. I know a lot of people that are holding off on it. They're a little nervous, but you're setting a great example. You want to just go ahead and get that out of the way. You guys, you study differently when you have a test date, okay? So the longer you push it off, the worse it is for you, the less information is going to stick in your head, okay? Mind you, that's not even the worst part. Again, I repeat, they're only allowing 10 people to test at a time, okay? So out of you and everybody else in California, okay, you think you're going to be able to schedule your test date a couple days before? It's just not going to happen, okay? We've already had 3 people in the class get turned away because there was already 10 people in the room, okay? So the test dates are going very fast, right? We already have 12 people on here right now. So that means if everybody on the class just went today and scheduled their test date, you guys could lock in. But 2 of you guys wouldn't even be able to go to the next day. You see what that means? So you want to go ahead and get that done as soon as possible, okay? Don't hold off on this.
We got a test date too.
Okay, Jenna Jerome, when is it?
On the 2nd.
On the 2nd. Oh, wow, that's coming up. June 2nd?
Yep, June 2nd. We're excited.
All right, June 2nd. Everybody wish them luck. What you guys should know as well, you should get excited about, we're going to have, we do a power whoosh for everybody that's about to go take their test, typically within the, I would say, 48 to 72 hours of the test date. If we have a class, we'll do like a big cheer for you guys. Everybody send Emmanuel some real positive energy. As soon as he gets his test date scheduled, then we'll go ahead and give him a power whoosh here. But what I would like you guys to all do for me, I don't know who just recently signed up for this class. I know when you first get on, you have to register for it. I'll look back in the history to find everyone's email. But as I said, we did just start a new group me for the licensing students. And so I want to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to get on there. So make sure all of you guys have a group me account. If you guys can take the opportunity to send me an email, okay? I'm going to post my email in the chat right now and just say, I want to attend the class, okay? If you tell me you want to attend the class, I will add you to the group, and that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to look through the actual class list and see who all is registered, but I don't want to add a bunch of people that aren't consistently on the class, that aren't going to be communicating on the group. I want to add people that are serious, that are really going to get on. So if you don't email me, I won't add you to the group, right? I'll just take it as you don't want to get on, and that'll be it. So my email is right there in the chat. please, if you would like to be in the group, email me. Just put I want to join the group me, and I'll make sure that I add your email. Now, you're going to want to email me from the email you're registered on GroupMe from. And if you don't, at least put that email in there so that way I can go ahead and add you with the correct email. Because if you give me the wrong email, it won't register to your account and you won't get the notifications. Okay? All good? No more questions or anything like that? We're all good?
All good.
Awesome. Oh man, I already got an email. Great job. All right, guys. Well, have an amazing day. It was awesome to speak with you. We'll meet again on Thursday at 10 a.m. I look forward to seeing all of you guys there.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.